Okay, are we ready? Good afternoon, everyone. How's everyone doing today? So good to see all you here. Let me call this meeting to order. The Southgate City Council special Southgate City a special Southgate City Council agenda. I think
It's going to
one
be
will
6
do
o'clock by
fine.
the time you get that
Roll
out.
call, please.
Mayor Davila.
Present.
Vice Mayor Barron is excused. Councilmember Avalos is also excused. Councilmember Hurtado.
Present.
Councilmember Rios.
Present.
City Treasurer De La Paz is also excused. City Manager Houston.
Present.
City Attorney Salinas.
Present.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. At this time, we will have an open session, which is item number 1.
We have the City Council will issue a proclamation declaring May 26, 2025 as Memorial Day.
And I'm going to have our council member. Please read it.
Oh, my Lord.
You
I
read
didn't bring my glasses, so.
Oh, here.
You want
use
mine?
Oh, no. They're not that bad. Somebody over there hold it out there? No. Okay, here we go. Proclamation declaring May 26, 2025 as Memorial Day. Whereas Memorial Day stands as a solemn occasion to honor and remember the brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces who have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to our nation. And whereas the city of Southgate joins communities across the country in recognizing the courage, dedication, and selflessness of those who laid down their lives to protect the freedoms and values we cherish. And whereas we express our deepest gratitude to the Gold Star families who live with the enduring pain of loss, and we reaffirm our unwavering support for our veterans, our active duty service members, and their families. And whereas on this Memorial Day, we come together as a community to reflect, remember, and recommit ourselves to upholding the ideals for which our fallen heroes have fought. And whereas the observance of Memorial Day in Southgate will include a public ceremony to pay tribute to our fallen, promote unity, and preserve the memory of their sacrifice for future generations. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed on this 13th day of May 2025 that Maria Davila, the mayor of the city of Southgate, on behalf of the city council and citizens, do hereby proclaim May 26, 2025 as Memorial Day in the city of Southgate. I call upon all residents to honor our fallen heroes by attending the city's Memorial Day ceremony. Let us never forget that the price of freedom is not free, and let us strive to be worthy of the sacrifice made by so many. Signed, Maria Davila, the mayor of the city of Southgate.
Thank you, Councilman Hurtado. And this certificate proclamation will be read at Memorial Day, and we'll be taking it with us. So we'll read it again. And
Yeah.
do you want to say something?
No, just want to invite all of our public and, excuse me, members of the audience to our Memorial Day ceremony that will take place on May 24th. That is Saturday at 10 a.m. at the Veterans Memorial Fountain in Southgate, where we will be honoring our Gold Star families at that time. So you're all invited.
All right. I know the proclamation says May 26th, but it's May 24th.
May 24th is our ceremony. May 26th is Memorial
It's
Day.
Memorial Day. Yes. Thank you. Okay. So with that, I will move on to item number 2.
The City Council will issue a proclamation declaring the week of May 18th through the 24th, 2025 as National Public Works Week.
Okay. Yay. Thank you, Art. Okay, with that, I'm going to go ahead and read the proclamation presented to Public Works. Proclamation declaring National Public Works Week, May 18 to the 24th, 2025. Whereas Public Works professionalized focus in infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, healthy quality of life, and well-being of people of Southgate. And whereas this infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedication efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector, which are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste system, public buildings, and other structure and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Southgate to gain knowledge of and to maintain ongoing interest, understanding, understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2025 marks the 65th annual National Public Work Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association. Now therefore be proclaimed on this 13th day of May 2025 that I, Maria Dabla, Mayor of the City of Southgate, on behalf of the City Council and citizens, do hereby proclaim May 18 through May 24, 2025 as National Public Works Week. I call upon all citizens and civic organizations to recognize the contribution that Public Works staff makes every day to improve our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. Signed by the mayor. Congratulations.
Madam Mayor?
Yes,
Oh,
I was,
first things first. You go
Okay.
first.
There we go. Okay, that's on. Thank you, guys. All right. Good evening, Mayor, and good evening, members of the council, as well as our community. So first and foremost, I'm very thankful for being able to, sit here today and be able to speak to you all about the honor that it is for me to be able to represent the public works community in our department, our division, and the work that we do. So I believe that public works is the silent engine in every community. We are the individuals that actually make sure that the water we drink, to the roads we drive on, and the infrastructure that we gather in is always safe and sustainable. And I believe I speak for everyone here today when I say that we're appreciative of the continuing and honoring of this week, that we can have the opportunity to be able to be valued and our work is valued. And we get to stand here and say that the work that we do is important. So starting May 19th through the 22nd, we will be having an exhibit at City Hall. So we'd like to welcome the community to that. And for everybody to come out to be able to see the types of projects that we've done throughout the year and the importance that it's doing in our community and the impact that it's making, from street repairs to different kinds of roads repairs. We are ensuring that our communities are safe and that our roads are clean. And then in addition to that, on Wednesday, May 22nd at 11:30, we'll be hosting an annual employee luncheon. So thank you so much. Council members, you're obviously very welcome to join. We look forward to seeing you all there, and we look forward to being able to see our staff be able to represent themselves as well as the work that they do there. So as we celebrate this week, I just want to personally also thank our director and our leader, Art Cervantes, as well, and my mentor. Since I've been here, he's provided me an immense amount of guidance, so I appreciate him, as well as I want to appreciate our city manager, Rob Houston, as well, just for continuing to support this week and the work that we do. Thank you all very much, and I take it to Yodit, who's going to show us an important video about the work that we do.
Hold on, I'm coming. Hold on.
For those that missed it the first time, I guess. You might want to include a Beatles song next time. I'm just, but look, what I wanted to say was this: the things that you talked about, all the things that you engage in making our community really, really what it is. I appreciate that. Uh, there are other things that you do when the weather is bad and trees and branches fall over. You're there. When something happens and a pothole just pops up or whatever, you're there. When a water pipe ruptures and it impacts our community, you're there. And I think we actually need to do a much better job of communicating the excellent work that our staff does. On what's happening a lot is there's a lot of criticism that water is uh, discolored, that we're providing horrible water and we're neglecting potholes and whatever. That's nonsense. And they're just attacks, and they're using social media to attack, and it's an attack on you. You have to go home, and your families get to see these attacks. It's not necessary. We need to do a better job of communicating the strong efforts of our staff, and I, at least from my end, I will be pushing for that effort. You guys deserve it. You deserve the respect of our members of our community for the work that you do on a daily basis. So thank you so much for what you're doing. I'm thankful that we're doing this proclamation. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Public Works in the house today. Thank you for being here, and we really see you all in the street all the time, keeping busy, keeping our city safe. And I'm real proud of you folks because of the good work you do. There's another county south of us. It's called Orange County. There's a city there, Santa Ana, and some of you have heard it. Well, I've been told that we have just as much money coming in for infrastructure as the city of Santa Ana. And city of Santa Ana is a big city. And I have to give credit to Arturo for all these grants, federal, state, and all it's really enhanced our community. Look at all the streets, the big streets, they're all nice. I mean, people are, I'm driving down Tweety, man, it's great, smooth, man. I mean, and all the other Garfield and Firestone, Long Beach, I'm really proud. And now you're doing some of the community streets. So, and of course, you mentioned the lights, water, sewer, sidewalk, trees, all of that. And I think sometimes the community takes it for granted, but I don't. I mean, that is work. And thank you for your ongoing service every day that you're out there. So, I'm really grateful for the good work. And we could take some of that credit because of the good work that you do. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Rios and Hurtado. And they have said most of the things that you guys do are in a community, and I can say that throughout the years being being council, we have seen the change that our community has gone through, and it has been a big change. And that goes all to all of you, public works. I mean, when it comes down to infrastructure, our streets, our buildings, I mean, you guys are always there, rain, shine. Thank God we haven't had any earthquakes, but I mean, I'm sure that you guys are always going to be there. And we just can't appreciate enough the work that you guys do every single day. Because, when it's raining, stormy, you guys are out there getting wet, trying to let the water run or pick up trees that have fallen. When it's hot, it could be 100, 105, and you guys are out there because that's what you guys do. So that we should appreciate, and we appreciate you guys for the great job that you guys do. We can take for granted, like Councilman Rio said, the work that you guys put in every single day. The same as here in the office, Arturo. I mean, the great job that you've been doing, and all your engineers, and all the grants that we've been getting and getting our street fixed. Because it's not easy, fixing our streets. We need to go for grants, and you guys been very good in getting grants so we can make sure that our streets get fixed. our trees get trimmed. And I mean, it's a team effort. And I appreciate every single one of you, I mean, that are out there. They're here in the office. Because without you, this city wouldn't look beautiful as it is. Because you know what? I hear it from people who come, who haven't been in our city for a while, that they come back and they see the difference. Sometimes when we're here in the city, we don't see the things that are happening, but people that haven't been in our city for a while, they come in and they look at our city and they see the difference that you guys have been making, that we all have been putting out there. So thank you. And, Public Works Week, yes, that, I mean, to me, it's every day, but we celebrate it once a year. And you guys should be celebrated throughout the whole year. So again, we'll be there at that barbecue, definitely. I'll be first in line, either cooking or whatever I need to do. But thank you so much, and I applaud you for the great job that you guys do. To all the men and women of Public Works, and Arturo, thank you for the great job that all you've been doing. Thank you. And now,
And you know,
get to present you with this proclamation.
just to let you know that when it's freezing cold and you guys are out there, I swear I'm in front of a fireplace praying for you, okay?
Public Works, we are going to be taking a picture outside. So please make your way outside, front of City Hall.
Thank you, Ozzy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, when it's 105 degrees and you guys are out there, I will be in front of my air conditioner praying for you guys.
I will be thinking about you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Item, okay, we go to closed session. Closed
Item num-
session, please.
Item number 1, conference with legal counsel pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9C, one potential case. Item number 2, conference with labor negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. Agency representation is Rob Houston, our city manager. Unrepresented employees, top management, departmental directors, hourly employees. Employee organizations are Southgate MEA, Southgate PMMA, Southgate DMA, Southgate PMA, and Southgate POA. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
At this time, I want to open it to the audience. Anyone that would like to, first of all, city manager, city attorney, do we have anything further?
Nothing at this time. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'm going to open it to the audience. We're going into closed session. Anything in closed session? Okay, being none, then do we have any emails?
I have one email, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. So
Yes.
at this, no, this is for closed session. Huh? You? Rick? What is your name, ma'am?
And for what is it?
Let me get Giselle.
Oh, the seniors. Okay, we didn't know that.
Yes, please. Okay, ahorita la atienden. Okay, we're going to close session. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I have one email to read.
We'll
You
have
got
to-
an email?
Yes.
I
We'll have
thought
to
you
do it
said you
next time,
had
I
no,
I have one from Mr.
Okay,
Mario
go ahead.
Dominguez. He
Maybe somebody
expressed strong
misunderstood.
dissatisfaction with the lack of transparency surrounding potential legal cases involving the city. He criticizes our city attorney for failing to disclose key details, including the nature of the cases and potential financial impact. He urges the city council to consider contracting out certain city hall positions, arguing that the current staffing model is financially unstable. He voiced concern that raising payroll costs are consuming our public funds without delivering visible improvements for residents and called for a shift in priorities to better serve the community. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
thank you. So with that, being nothing else, we're going to close session. Thank you. So at this time, City Attorney, can you please report out?
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Just one second while I get situated here. On item number one, conference legal counsel regarding anticipated litigation. City council discussed one case. There was a presentation made by the city manager and by the city attorney. Upon completion of that presentation, there was no action taken on that matter. The city council also discussed in closed session labor negotiations with the employee organizations listed on the agenda. There was a presentation given, there was guidance provided, but there's no reportable action taken in closed session. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. This completes my
Thank you,
report.
City Attorney. At this time, I'm going to open it to the audience. Anyone that would like to speak on closed session items? Okay, closing the audience. And we did read a comment. There was an email. Okay, so with that, can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Oops. It was off.
Thank you. Okay, so let me see. We got a minute, but before that, let me make the announcement for the Spanish translation. Si hay personas que necesitan traducción en español, tenemos audífonos en la parte de atrás o aquí al lado. Si necesitan traducción en español. Ok, gracias. Okay. Okay, good evening, everyone, again. And at this time, I'm going to go ahead and open the Southgate City Council regular meeting agenda. And at this time, we have the invocation by Pastor Trejo and the Pledge of Allegiance by our new Director, Administrative Services, Luis Fausto. Where is he? Okay, please stand.
Good evening. Buenas tardes. Gracias por invitarme a tener la invocación en este día. Para mí es un placer. Thank you for inviting me to have an invocation this evening. Bow your head, please. Let's pray. Our Father who art in heaven, we thank you for everyone gathered into this room. Please guide our heart as we make good decisions to make the best for our beautiful city of Southgate. Please fill our life with your grace and truth. We ask this for your glory and praise. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Okay, please, John, can you please do us the, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Trejo. Okay. Okay, we'll do item number one.
I'd like to do roll call, please.
Oh, please, yes, roll call.
Mayor Davila,
Present.
Vice Mayor Barron is excused. Councilmember Avalos today is excused. Councilmember Hurtado,
Present.
Councilmember Rios. We have our City Treasurer De La Paz is also excused. City Manager Houston.
Present.
City Attorney Salinas.
Present.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Item number one.
Excuse me. The
Do
city-
we have the representatives from Vector Control? Oh, they're here. Okay. Item number one, please read into the record.
The City Council will consider receiving and filing a presentation from the Greater Los Angeles County Vector Control District.
Thank you. Okay, at this time is a presentation by Vector Control.
Good afternoon, distinguished council. I'm here on invitation of Council Member Avalos. Super excited to share our presentation. Thank you. Awesome. Okay. Look forward to begin.
Does it click?
Awesome. All right, I'm David Palin, the Communications Manager. And a little bit about our district. We are one of 4 vector control districts within LA County. We focus on 3 specific vectors. We're not just mosquitoes. We also control black fly and midge. And our current assessment annually is $18.97 for single-family homes. So a little bit about the reason why I'm here. We have a rise of dengue fever, which last year we had 140 local travel-related cases, as well as around 14 locally acquired cases. So this is something that is definitely rising with an invasive species of mosquitoes, as well as the continuous problem of West Nile virus. You also see the St. Louis encephalitis as well. So how are we combating that? We believe in a formula that's called IVM, or Integrated Vector Management, where it consists of surveillance, control, and education. I'm going to start off with the control measures. So we start off our control with our operations team. And you can see here some of our high visibility work, which starts off with our service request. That's probably how you will see us out, visiting door to door, especially if there is a case of dengue, West Nile virus, or any other mosquito-borne disease. We also are following up with our, oops, I think the next one, it's not clicking.
One more time. One more time.
Try. Oh, okay. All right, back on. Our next slide is our medium visibility. So these are less visible than our door-to-door, but we have technicians that are going around checking those public sources, such as those canals that are pictured right there. Also swimming pools. So those green swimming pools, we have what are called mosquito fish that will eat those mosquito larvae and those breeding sources from there, as well as treating those street gutters and making sure once we clear it from debris, we also might even treat them so that they're not breeding. But last but not least are our low visibility. So these are probably some of the activities that you are not aware that we do. And starting off with those treatments of underground storm drain systems, as well as clearing those flood channels, because they can be huge breeding sources as well. So right here, you're going to see a map of the activity that we did last year, a culmination of all of those items that I just shared, totaling over about 1,500 different ways that we have been supporting the city of Southgate. But that's not all. We have our scientific and technical department that not only surveillances, but it also traps and identifies mosquitoes. And also what you see is dead birds. So they're a huge indicator of West Nile virus. So once you call us about those dead birds, we will test them for the virus within them. But we're really excited about this department because of the sterile insect technique. So one thing about this, it is X-ray radiating. We do not genetically modify. Once again, we X-ray radiate the mosquitoes, and it is the female mosquito that bites. So what we do is we take these sterile male mosquitoes and we have them mate with the female mosquitoes so that the offspring are not viable. We're excited about this because one, it's environmentally friendly. We don't have to use pesticides for this, as well as it produces non-viable offspring. Right now, we have only done this for a small targeted pilot area in the Sunland Tahunga area, but we're looking to expand this throughout the district. So last but not least is my team that I lead, which is the education program, as well as the communication department. We do city council presentations like this, but we also do social media engagement. And we want to make sure that we have different booths set up as well as city engagements. We do have a quick ask from you all, and it is to partner with us and follow us on social media. In addition to that, encouraging your residents to call us. We are funded by taxpayer dollars, so it is no additional cost to them. And we can have those uncomfortable conversations sometimes with neighbors. If the next door neighbor has a breeding site or a dirty green pool, we can take care of it. And last but not least, right, we see that banner that is going across, adding us to your website or any other ways that we can come. We are definitely here to support you all. And with that, I will open it up to questions.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for your presentation, and it's very educational. But the work that you guys do at Vector Control, I mean, I was one of the board members, trustee for almost 10 years there. And you do learn a lot on mosquitoes. The names, I mean, the chikungunya and the name it, the West Nile virus. It was very, I mean, during that time that I was there, we were having a lot of West Nile virus cases here in California, especially in the LA area. But now you mentioned that that the West Nile virus it's coming to hit hard. I mean, this year or
We have kind of decreased West Nile virus,
Mhm.
but we're really being hit more with is the dengue fever.
dengue.
And that's due to invasive mosquito known as the Aedes aegypti. Mhm.
Right. Okay. Questions?
Yeah,
Councilman?
actually a comment, and thank you for the presentation. I think a lot of times we take a lot of things, for granted. We wake up in the morning, go to work, come back home, be with the family, but history shows us that there's a lot of things that we've encountered in the past. I got a degree in global studies, environmental impacts to communities. And I remember seeing some videos back that were made like in the 50s, I think it was, where mosquitoes were a big issue. And someone decided, let's spray DDT out there. And if anybody gets a chance to Google this, get on YouTube, and take a look at some of the videos, some of the things that were being done. There's a video where children are at a school eating lunch, and the company that was doing the DDT
Mhm.
is spraying these kids as
Yeah.
they're eating. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but it's very bad.
Mhm.
And it wasn't until a lady by name of, I think her name was Rachel Carson. She wrote a book called Silent Spring
Mm.
that came to the attention of President John F. Kennedy, and he introduced a program to look into these things that, even though they're intended on killing the mosquitoes that are causing a lot of diseases, sometimes the cure is worse than the disease, and people were dying of cancer, and they did not remove DDT until I think in 1972. It took many years before they did that.
Mhm.
And back in the 80s, we had I'm sure a lot of people remember that fruit fly.
Yes.
And I was living in Huntington Park at the time, and I remember coming home from the market, and we heard a helicopter flying overhead. Next thing I know is I'm being doused with this thing that is intended to kill the bug. And people were being affected by that as well. And so again, I'm glad that you have some plans in place
Yes.
to address it without using these chemicals and stuff. So again, but that's good to know. And I think people sometimes overlook the great work that you guys do. But thanks for the presentation.
Very
Thank you.
welcome.
Go ahead, Councilman
Thank you,
Rios.
Madam Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Palian, for being here today and giving us this update. I guess I ride my bike down the river bend here in the neighborhood, and a lot of times I'm running into a whole flock of mosquitoes. And now you mentioned storm drains because the water is moving there mostly along the river. So I don't. So what are we doing in that area because there's so much of mosquitoes.
Yes.
What are we?
And that's the other piece is mosquitoes typically are going to be found with the stagnant water, but we also have black fly around the rivers. But going back to what you were saying, why you may see them around rivers is when they pull up in debris. So we really work with those sanitation districts as well as the water districts so that we are not creating those pooled up areas around the riverbeds that can have the black flies in the river as well as the mosquitoes building up around it.
Somebody's
Yeah.
doing it.
No, again, I want to thank you for your presentation. And I know that, I know the social media, it's very, to give out this information. I know you have videos that we can put out in our own social media here at the
Absolutely.
city. So maybe you can give us some of those videos so we can put them out in our, in a social media so we can share with our community. And again, we need to continue educating our community how we can control this, stormwater, when buckets that you have outside, pools that are outside, even a car wheel that you see out there, I mean, contains water that will create mosquitoes. So we just need to continue educating ourselves and making sure that we clear all the water. But I want to thank you for your presentation.
Thank you for the
Okay,
opportunity.
thank you. And I'm going to open it to the audience. Anybody would like to, any comments on mosquitoes? No? Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate your presentation.
Motion to receive and file, is that a
Yes.
motion? Motion
It's
to
just a
receive and file.
One second. Okay,
It's unanimous.
Thank you.
good, Carrie. Thank you. Okay, so with that, we'll move on to our next item, which is item number 2.
I think he's going to speak, Maria.
Item number 2 and 3, and we're going to take a couple of items together. Is that correct, City Attorney?
That's correct. We're going to take items 2, 3, 4, and 5 jointly
Joint
as part of the public hearing, Madam Mayor.
Okay, so, okay, for the record, City Clerk, can you please read that into the record?
Yes.
Uh,
Mayor and council, items 2 through 5 relate to the property located at 8530 Alameda Street. Under item number 2, the council will consider authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with Alameda Angle Properties to terminate all truck trailer storage, remove all trucks and trailers from the site, implement the quality monitoring, and transition to the property to the legal allowable use. Item number 3 involves considering an appeal and potential upholding of the Planning Commission's decision to deny the extension of the temporary use permit number 2020-01. And then under item number 4, the council will consider upholding the determination that the prior legal nonconforming use for metal processing and recycling has been abandoned, and that the current truck trailer storage use is not legal and must cease. Lastly, item number 5 involves considering the denial of a process zone change from industrial flex to heavy manufacturing and related amendments to the community design and housing elements of the general plan. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. City Attorney?
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I'd like to remind the council and the public that this is a public hearing. A public hearing imposes certain requirements on the city council in the way in which it conducts the process of the items that are going to be appearing before today. This public hearing is like being in a courtroom. It requires us to allow for a fair hearing, to hear both sides of the issue that may be presented by the public as well as by staff. And it's important for us to maintain the decorum here in the council chambers to make sure that we have an accurate record there. So as we have done in the past, for those members that have been here with us before on these issues, we'd ask for you to please respect the various viewpoints, that you please refrain from clapping, cheering, making any kind of remarks after anyone has presented or made their public comments here today, because it's important for the court, the city clerk, I was going to call her the court clerk, the city clerk to record everything that's being said here today as part of this public notice. I have asked the city manager to provide the city council with sort of a outline of who's going to speak and when the public will be invited to speak on this issue. This is a matter that was continued from our prior hearing, city council meeting 2 weeks ago. The city council received a number of comments on this issue, both from staff as well as from the public. Those comments are recorded. They are part of the record that will already be going with whatever decision the city council makes. So the public should understand that if you have already spoken, you're not prevented from speaking, but you should also know that your comments, to the extent that you spoke previously, are already part of the record, and you shouldn't feel like you are discouraged from talking, but you shouldn't feel like if you don't talk, your comments won't make it to the record because they are already a part of the record. So with that, Madam Mayor, I would turn it over to the city manager to then go through the outline about how we're going to conduct this meeting in terms of who's going to speak and when. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Good evening, everyone. We've, as mentioned, had this item before us 2 weeks ago. We're now continuing it. Today, we will be running through actually 4 items that are listed on your agenda. As has been mentioned, there's the Alameda Engel Properties Group has a proposal for an agreement that's before the council tonight. There is the 3 items that have been in the public hearing last week, which involve the denying of an extension of a temporary use permit, the director's determination saying that legal nonconforming use of the past uses on the property have been abandoned, and a final item of the zoning change request for the property to a different use. Those 3 items are written in large packages of information on the agenda. And so what's going to happen today is they're packaged into a single discussion, and both the city and the Alameda Engel representatives have agreed to do a single presentation each to cover the entire content of this important decision that needs to be made. So the order of speaking that we will see here will be kicking off with the Alameda Engel Properties representative speaking first, presenting their case, then followed up by the city's representative, Jim Eckert, who will be representing the city's case. It will then be opened up for public comment. As the attorney has mentioned, all the comments made last time are on the record, but we will allow a lineup for anyone who wants to make comments, up to 3 minutes each. So the public will be able to speak on any of the items, any of the 4 items, but it'll be a single public comment period. So that will be your time to make your comment. And we'll take as many people as want to speak. At the closure of that time, we will return to the Alameda Engel property for closing remarks, then to Jim Eckert for the city's closing remarks, and then it will return to the city council for their discussion, any questions they have, and their final direction. So that's an outline of the process. Hopefully everyone can follow that. It's a complex thing we have before us, but that's how we'll run through it. And with that, I'll pass things on, if the mayor's okay,
Yes.
to
go
the
ahead.
Alameda Engel representative.
Thank you very much, City Manager Houston, for that clarification. Good evening, Honorable Mayor Davila, Honorable Council Members Jurado and Rios. My name is Alfred Fraijo for the record. I am speaking on the items that have been presented to you, and in particular, item number 2 concerning the cessation agreement. I want to state plainly tonight before you and the public that our client is in agreement that the truck, trailer, and container use on the property should be retired once and for all. My client is here, as was requested by this body, to express their commitment to reaching a resolution with the city tonight. Subject to your approval of the cessation agreement before you, we are prepared with written documentation to formally withdraw the items on the agenda concerning item 4, which is the appeal of the director's determination, item 3, which is our appeal of the TUP determination, and to formally withdraw any applications proposing changes to the current zoning of the site. I know that we have discussed these items at great length with your patience and consideration, as well as with the Planning Commission and in the papers that we have submitted demonstrating our position on these items. At this point, we want to submit the correspondence and our position on those items concerning the appeal and the application solely as a matter of record, and would appreciate the courtesy by the city attorney to submit that as part of the public record. Tonight, I want to speak on the merits of the cessation agreement because we believe that it provides a mutually beneficial settlement, not only for our client, but for the city and the public. First, the cessation agreement provides that the use will be terminated on both the county portion of the property that is not the jurisdiction of the city, as well as the city portion of the property by a date certain, which is sooner, much sooner than if this matter were to be subject to litigation. We know and expect to hear from your own attorneys that any litigation concerning land use would be the subject of multiple years of expensive litigation. If the parties litigate, and should the city be victorious in that litigation, that would only apply to the portion of the property that's within the city's jurisdiction. This agreement would immediately cease all use that is the subject of this issue on both sides of the property. Under this agreement, AEP would immediately begin working with its tenant to wind down its current operations. It would immediately begin removing the hundreds of shipping containers located on the property and coordinating with the city regarding future uses. As you know, this current use has been active on the property since 1973, and it will take time to wrap that up. But we are not waiting for the end of the term. We are committed to starting immediately a collaborative consultation with your staff that have been so attentive to the concerns raised by this council to talk about the future use of the property. We have also listened closely to the concerns raised by many of the people that are here tonight, by the community and advocates of the city of Southgate regarding the environmental concerns, not just on our property, but in this area that is surrounded by industrial uses. And so tonight, our client agrees to commit to an environmental remediation plan that is the subject of an enforceable provision in the agreement before you. This agreement lays out the arrangements for an air quality monitoring work plan to be prepared by a certified engineer for on-site air quality monitoring. The work plan will monitor particulate matter and weather patterns to ensure air quality control at the site. Also importantly, this monitoring protocol is a subject of established industry standards, not one proposed by my client, but rather by independent scientists as a matter of best practice. The work plan will be also require air quality reports that will be submitted to the city on a periodic basis and available for review by the public. In addition, this agreement before you provides for a structure, as I mentioned, of consistent and deliberate collaboration between the city and staff to work together on future uses on the site. Let me be clear. The agreement to seize the current operations is not conditioned on finding a future user, but rather the agreement provides for a roadmap for collaboration in good faith that allows us to see a future use that is consistent with the vision that was adopted by this council. I would like to state for the record that from the very beginning, our clients have been committed to working out a constructive and collaborative resolution with the city. We have submitted, as you know, numerous documents substantiating what we believe are our clients' rights. However, we are in agreement to retire that debate once and for all, to begin a process of constructive dialogue subject to this agreement, and notwithstanding my client's position that we have merit in our arguments, we do believe, and it's a sincere belief, that it's time to set aside our differences because we believe the agreement is beneficial for the community and it's beneficial for the city. Transitioning the use once and for all with a deliberate speed is truly beneficial. Our client additionally has heard concerns from the community that the use should be transitioned, that it's time for us to see a new future for this corridor. We are, and I'd state a heartfelt consideration that it was painful to hear the accusations that were made against our client. Many individuals lodged personal, disparaging comments to our client. Those comments were taken to heart. They were heartbreaking. This has been a small business that has existed in the city of Southgate through the pandemic for over 50 years. We have employed countless of individuals that live and work in Southgate. We are, notwithstanding the facts of this case and our client's steadfast commitment to the purpose of the uses, to retire that and start a new positive chapter for the city and for the property. Finally, I would like to conclude by thanking your staff for their diligent advocacy on behalf of the constituents of the city, on behalf of this body, to reach an amicable resolution that is reflected in the terms of the cessation agreement. We are grateful for their willingness, and we are optimistic that that level of collaboration will continue, notwithstanding our differences on the merits of our case, towards a future use on the site. Together with the city, we look forward to working with the community to transition the current use, to hear their input on what is most beneficial and productive for the community, and to, importantly, achieve the city's vision for a greater Southgate. I thank you for the opportunity to speak with you, and I would like to provide a few minutes for Mr. Jason Engel to come up and say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you. Please come up.
Good evening, Mayor Davila and honorable city council members. My name is Jason Engel, and I'm here on behalf of Alameda Engel Properties, along with my father there, the owner of the property. My grandfather started in Southgate in 1973. Since then, and for 4 generations, we've been part of the Southgate community, just like you, city council members, and a lot of the people in the audience. The care and well-being of the community is a core value of our company. Good stewardship of our property is not just for our family safety, but for our neighbors too. We are very proud of the business that we built here in Southgate, the jobs that we've been able to provide, and our collaboration with the city as a corporate citizen and community partner over the past 50+ years. Suggestions that our family is not concerned for the well-being of this community are inaccurate and hurtful. We may disagree though, but we have listened closely and appreciate the concerns expressed by our neighbors. We take their concerns to heart. Their concerns prompted us to work in good faith with the city staff to cease the current use via the proposed cessation agreement. It is truly difficult to give up a business that we have worked so hard to build and maintain, but having heard the concerns of our neighbors, we believe the cessation agreement is the best path forward for our company, our family, the city, and our neighbors. We look forward to transitioning the property and exploring its future uses together with our Southgate community. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Okay. So at this time, our next is opening to
Jim Eckert.
Jim. Please come up.
And council, for at least the initial part, our city planner, John Signo, is going to give some of the preliminary screens.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. The project before you tonight is located on Alameda. Property owner representatives are here. And again, the requests are, we sort of combine these into 4 requests, but we do have an agreement before you tonight. If we just go on to, let's see. So just a little bit about background on this property. Back in 1961, about that time, the property was zoned heavy manufacturing, or M3. Around 1973, there was a metal processing facility that operated at the site, operated by Jack Engel and Company and Alameda Engel Properties. The site was developed with industrial structures. There was a metal recycling operation that included delivery of scrap metal products, sorting and processing, preparation for shipment. And in 1988, the city amended the zoning code requiring a conditional use permit for recycling facilities. However, existing facilities were deemed legal nonconforming pursuant to Southgate Municipal Code, Chapter 11.55, nonconforming uses in buildings. In 2015, city adopted ordinance number 2323, which further amended the zoning code and changed the zoning of the subject property to industrial flex, or IF. The recycling facilities would still require a conditional use permit. However, existing recycling facilities were deemed legal nonconforming and allowed to continue in accordance with the municipal code. Around March of 2020, all metal recycling facilities ceased on the subject property, and the structure utilized to conduct metal recycling was demolished. The new tenant, Fleet Yards Incorporated, commenced utilizing the site for solely storage of truck trailers and their containers as a principal use. And the city approved a temporary use permit in July of 2020, authorizing that use for 1 year. It wasn't extended, and in December 2022, the community development director advised Fleet Yards that the several conditions were not met, including that it wasn't extended and the TUP was ineligible for renewal. So in May of 2023, the project was appealed. It went to Planning Commission. The Planning Commission reviewed the TUP extension and upheld the director's determination. And in January 2021 of this year, 2025, after reviewing the public records and documents submitted by the appellant, our director issued a determination and non-compliance letter that the legal non-conforming use, including the integral truck trailer storage component, was abandoned for at least two consecutive years, and that the use can no longer be conducted unless otherwise in conformity to all current laws and regulations. The use for truck trailer storage as a principal use is not associated with recycling operations and is not a legal non-conforming use, and that use must be immediately terminated. An appeal was filed in February 6, 2025, based on the following items you see there, and that's why it's before the City Council tonight. I'm sorry, that's an appeal to the director's determination, and so that went to the Planning Commission on March 18th. Planning Commission held that public hearing. There were concerns brought up by the residents. Ultimately, the Planning Commission voted 3-0 to deny the appeal, and they adopted resolution number 2025-04. And that's why the item is before you tonight. It was on the April 22nd meeting, but those were continued to tonight's meeting. There are 2 appeals, one dealing with the temporary use permit extension, the second dealing with an appeal of director's determination, and the third item being the zone change and general plan amendment. At that April 22nd meeting, the public was allowed to provide testimony, and the City Council voted to continue it tonight. So just to give you a background on the property, the red there shows the city's boundary line. This site is located there in the blue. It's about close to 7 acres. And a close-up of that subject property shows you the 6.7 acres within the city limits. The northern part of that, which is about close to 3 acres, is also owned by AEP, and that's outside the city within the County of Los Angeles jurisdiction. The only egress and ingress is in that little part there on the top left corner, showing the in and out leading to Alameda Street. Just a photo of the entrance that leads to the county side of the property, which connects over to the side in the city. Okay, and I'm going to transfer it over to Mr. Eckert.
Honorable Mayor and council members, thank you. So what I'm going to discuss right now is really item number 1, which is the agreement that's been presented to try and resolve items 2, 3, and 4, and 5, I believe. And in going through this, I just wanted to kind of at least initially start off with what staff's goals are with respect to all of these particular matters that are before the City Council today. Number 1 is our primary goal is to seek the cessation of the truck, trailer, and cargo container storage that's going on at the subject property. And just kind of going back to this, again, although this is portion of this in the Southgate City and part of it is in the unincorporated portion of LA County, understand that it's a singular use that's going on across the entirety of the property. What's before the City Council tonight really apart from item number 1, which is the agreement, only addresses that activity that would be occurring on the portion of the property that's in the city of Southgate. That is, right now, when we look at the issues related to the TUP or to the legal nonconforming, we're only discussing the portion that's within the city of Southgate. From that, we don't have control over the activities that occur on the portion of the property that is within the county of Los Angeles. But our goal is to try and seek a cessation of it. And we've heard, staff has heard, and I believe the property owners, as indicated by Mr. Frejo and Mr. Engel today, they've heard what our constituents have said. They've heard what our public has talked about and the concerns that have been raised. They've heard what the concerns are that were raised by the Planning Commission and those that have already been voiced by the City Council. And in doing that, we are seeking not only to have a termination of the use that's going on the city property, but to address all of the other ancillary concerns and adverse impacts that result from the activities that occur on this property. Now, in doing that, we want to have not only a cessation of the use, but we also want to address the environmental issues that have been raised by the public quite vociferously over the last several hearings. In addition to that, ultimately, we don't want to have a property that just sits fallow, right? We want a property that is of benefit to the community. And so those are kind of the 3 most important goals that city staff has been looking at in going forward with the various denials and the termination of the legal nonconforming and the enforcement proceedings that we're doing, is to try and achieve those 3 goals. Now, what's being presented to the City Council tonight as item number 1, or the first part of this item, is an agreement in order to terminate that use, in order to provide those environmental protections, and in order to repurpose this property for a more beneficial use. That's what's being presented. Now, I will say that if the City Council were to reject the agreement and we were to move forward with the other aspects of these items, that is items 2, 3, and 4, and 5, if we are going forward with those and there were to be a negative outcome, okay, and obviously we don't know which way it's going to go, but if there were to be a negative outcome, what would be guaranteed is that the property owner and his staff would litigate that issue. They would challenge the City Council's determinations on each of those items. We know that. That is a standard practice. They've indicated that they would do that if need be. And that is something, as we'll discuss, litigation is a time-consuming effort. Litigation like this could last for several years. Initially getting a hearing before a superior court. If that decision were to go against the applicants, the appellants in this case, meaning the property owners, there would be an appeal that they would do, and that could tie the city down in litigation for years to come. During that time, it is very possible that the court would issue a stay on any decision that the City Council makes, meaning that the activity that we are trying to terminate could actually potentially go on for all of those years that this matter is in litigation, 2 years, 3 years, or more. In addition to that, the city would have expenses, litigation expenses, attorney's fees that would need to be paid. And the appellants would also be seeking damages from the city if they were to be victorious. They've estimated those costs to be in the $11 million range. That's not to say that we agree that those costs would be owed or that those would be accurate accounting of those costs, but they would be seeking those sorts of fees and costs that they would have lost as a result of termination of the agreement that they have with their tenant, fleet yards, rental income, business interruptions, things of that nature. So it's with all of those things in mind that this settlement agreement has been crafted, and it is being presented to the city council. And what I'd like to do is just kind of go over what some of the benefits of the settlement agreement are. So in looking at it, number one, the primary issue, again, that we said was we're seeking a termination of the use that's going on at the property that has created all these adverse impacts that our public has talked about. And that's exactly what this agreement does. This agreement actually guarantees in writing that the property owner is going to be terminating this use, and not just terminating it on the Southgate side, but terminating the use both on the Southgate side and on the County of Los Angeles side. Remember, that's a portion of it that our litigation and our matters before the city council would not have been able to control. But we've been able to get the property owners to agree to terminate it completely across the board. And that's a big thing because a lot of the adverse impacts that our community has been discussing, traffic concerns, things of that nature, aren't things that are happening necessarily on the property, right? These are things that are happening as a result of the activities that's going on the property, but those trucks are leaving the property. They're leaving out of the County of Los Angeles side, being the only way that they can enter and go off the property. But of course, they're coming into the city of Southgate. By terminating this use across the entirety of the property, we're removing those sort of adverse impacts that occur within our city. And we're doing that by a very specified date, 1 year from today, on or before May 13th of 2026, without exception. That's what the agreement provides for. A 1-year period of time to, in essence, wind down the activities that are ongoing. Okay, wind down meaning that the property owners obviously have lease. They have a lease with fleet yards. Fleet yards then rents out the property to allow for independent truck operators to be able to park their trucks at the location, store the truck trailers and the cargo containers there, or shipping containers. And so obviously there's a legal process that they need to go through to do that. So, but this guarantees the 1 year, not 3 years that might occur as a result of litigation, but 1 year from today. 1 year termination across the board, county property and city property. So that's the first part, first kind of benefit that we're looking at. The second is the environmental issues. And you heard council talk about it. Council Frejo discussed this about how, again, they took into consideration, as did staff, the concerns that have been raised not only by the constituents, but concerns that already our planning commission, our city council, and our staff have been concerned about. And so they've provided for monitoring of the air quality pursuant to specific provisions of this agreement, as well as for other types of environmental concerns. And so that's something that's provided for in this agreement. That's something that we might be able to get through the court, but again, maybe 2 or 3 years down the line before something like that becomes effective. As part of this agreement, it becomes effective the minute that that agreement would be executed. The third thing would be the repurposing of the site. And as you heard Attorney Frejo indicate, the idea behind this agreement and what's being proposed as part of this agreement, and as committed by Mr. Engels and Mr. Frejo, as they said today, is not that we're going to go a year to remove the use and then start thinking about how to repurpose the site. That consideration and those communications and those meetings between the property owner and staff are going to be ongoing during this 1 year period of time that they are winding down the business, so that with the goal that by the time everything winds down, we already have a roadmap for how this property is going to be repurposed to a use that is beneficial to the city. It doesn't mean that obviously that use will go in on day 366, right? But that there should be a roadmap for what would be needed to repurpose the site for some type of lawful, beneficial use to the community. Lawful meaning in compliance with our codes that exist, not like the type of use that we have right now. So those were the 3 main goals of what staff was trying to do with all these proceedings, and those are the 3 main goals that we've been able to achieve as part of this settlement agreement if the council were to approve it. But there's more to that. In addition to that, obviously, if the council were to approve the settlement agreement, then Mr. Angles would be withdrawing all of the other matters that are before the city council tonight. That means that they would be withdrawing the appeal of the TUP denial. They would be withdrawing the appeal of the determination of legal nonconformity or lack thereof. And they would be withdrawing their application for a zone change and general plan amendment. And so this would be things that the city council doesn't need to make a ruling on because they would just go away. And along with them going away, the applicant and appellant would be waiving any rights to challenge any of those actions. That is, the action of the Planning Commission would become final with respect to the TUP denial, would become final with respect to the legal nonconforming. And there would be no further challenges of those. Those would become final and binding. As well as they would be waiving any other causes of action that they may think that they have against the city for the actions that the city has taken so far up to date. In addition to that, the applicant would be indemnifying and defending the city should there be any challenges related to CEQA issues related to the approval of this agreement or the actions and activities that are covered under the various items that are before the city council tonight with respect to this property. Primarily what this does, aside from achieving the three goals that we set out to achieve, I think the three goals that I believe our constituents would say are most important to them, what I believe our staff believes is most important to the city in general, is it preserves our resources. Massive amounts of resources would be expended by city, and when I say resources, I'm talking both manpower and money in trying to handle these lawsuits. And although we believe that we would be victorious in these lawsuits, and obviously council may disagree with that, but in either case, staff would be spending time in addressing these matters, attorney's fees would be expended, and we're able to accomplish exactly what we would have hoped to accomplish through potentially the council determinations on the other items and through litigation without having to expend all of that additional resources. And lastly, just to keep in mind that obviously if litigation were to start, meaning that if the city council were to reject the agreement before it, and then ultimately make a determination on the other items that is contrary to the position of the applicant and the appellant, and litigation were to commence on that, it is unlikely, and as a matter of fact, what they've indicated to us in writing is they would not agree to these types of terms if we have to move forward with litigation. So obviously, although we still think that we would be able to get a favorable outcome, it would not be more favorable than what's before the city council tonight. So just to kind of go over some things and kind of put it up here so that we can kind of see what the options are, and really just kind of highlight a couple of the main things. We have 3 columns, well, 4 columns, but 3 columns of actions that the city council can take tonight. The second column up here, which would be the first one that we're going to discuss, is just if the city council were to approve the agreement, what are we getting out of it? What are we getting? We're getting a termination of the illegal truck storage that's going on at the property. We are getting that across the board, both on the city side as well as the county side, and we are getting that by a date finite. We are getting it by May 13th of 2026 or earlier, across the board, across the entirety, rather than having the uncertainty of what may happen through litigation. Number 2, we're getting the air quality monitoring as well as other environmental monitoring. We're getting a transition to an allowed use. That is, again, and obviously we can see that once this use is terminated, it's beneficial for everybody, including the property owner, to have a new use at the property, a use that complies with the law. But we're getting that as part of this, as well as ongoing action by the property owner during this wind down period of the year. And then we get all of the appeals being withdrawn. And again, all of that happens within 1 year, guaranteed based off of the agreement. And should there be a violation of the agreement, there's provisions within this agreement that would allow the city to go in and actually remove vehicles from the property if need be. There's a provision in the agreement that would allow us to prevent other people from going onto the property. So there's safeguards within it, should there be a violation, although we don't expect that there would be one. In addition to our ability to go and enforce this agreement in a court of law. And we do this without any major additional expenditures of resources. The second option that the council has is to reject the agreement. And both the second and third deal with the rejection of the agreement. But one would be if we were to move forward with the other items, meaning, again, the appeals on the TUP, on the legal nonconforming, and on the application for the zone change and general plan amendment, if the council were to make determinations contrary to the position of the applicants or the appellants, obviously we would face litigation. And that litigation, as I indicated, could last up to 3 years at an extreme expenditure of cost to the city, both in manpower as well as in fees. The estimated legal fees to handle this matter through a trial court as well as through appeals is potentially $300,000 or more. So by entering into this agreement, obviously we'd be preserving those resources as well. And then with respect to liability of costs, those are the costs that I was mentioning before that council for the property owner estimates at potentially $11 million or more. Those obviously we would have to wait and see what a court believes would be the appropriate amount, if any amount at all. But those are potential costs. And then in the third column, what we have is if the council were to reject the agreement, but ultimately approve to approve the appeals, meaning that the city council either decides to grant the TUP, right? In essence, overturning the planning commission's decision, or overturning the planning commission's decision and determining that there is in fact a legal nonconforming right to utilize this property for truck storage. Obviously, what we have is we have this ongoing use that is creating all of these adverse impacts that we've talked about going on potentially forever, because they would have a legal right to do so. And so until they voluntarily abandon that use, we would potentially still be dealing with all of these adverse impacts. The city's costs ultimately on that are unknown. Obviously, there may be enforcement costs, there may be other issues as we try and monitor the location to, again, try and mitigate any of those adverse impacts, but those are unknown what those sort of costs would be. So it's based off of this analysis of kind of how can we achieve these main goals that we want? How do we terminate the use? How do we address the environmental concerns? And how do we try and repurpose this site that staff and Mr. Engels and his legal counsel have come up with this agreement that we've presented to the city council. We believe it is in the best interest of the city council to approve this agreement and authorize the city manager to execute it. So that we can get moving on this wind down period and achieve the goals that we believe are in the best interests of the city. And with that, I will leave unless there are any questions that I can answer for the city council.
Thank you. Do you have anything else?
Madam Mayor, no, at this time, I think we should go to the public, open up to the
Okay.
public. And once the public ends, we'll close the public comment.
Okay. So at this time, anyone in the public that wants to speak on this item, please make a line on this side and we'll hear from you. And please state your name for the record.
Hi, Jennifer Daly. I really appreciate that explanation from Mr. Eckert. That was really good. I want to begin by thanking the council as well, not for your leadership, but for unintentionally inspiring a community movement. Your neglect and willingness to put corporate interests and personal gain over public health has done something remarkable. It's united the people of Southgate. Your failure to show up for your residents has pushed them to show up for each other. 7 months ago, I partnered with the Southgate family who's here and has been here meeting after meeting to form the nonprofit Sell for a Better Tomorrow. They came to me after over a year of being ignored by this council, ignored when they called, emailed, and begged for you to act. So we came together to demand accountability. If you look around this room, there are people who have made the time to be here again, just like they did 3 weeks ago. That night, the agenda said you would finally vote on the illegal contaminated Engel truck yard. Instead, you caved to Engel's attorney when Engel didn't even show up, postponed the vote, and bought yourselves more time to negotiate behind closed doors. Your residents don't get private meetings. They don't get negotiation power. They don't get a seat at the table. They're not paid to be here. They're here because they believe in a vision for their city: clean air, safe neighborhoods, affordable housing, and the right to thrive. They trusted you to share that vision. They voted for you believing that you would protect them. And every time you side with polluters like Engel, you betray that trust. But just as they elected you, they can and will remove you. And as you probably know, they are organizing to do that. You may think that this is just how politics works, that corruption is the norm, this is business as usual, but we're here to remind you it doesn't have to be this way. Change begins locally, and it begins with moments like this. The fight against Engel is about more than just zoning. It's about whether Southgate will continue to serve corporations or finally stand up for its people. We know that the city's in big financial trouble, and you don't want to risk the litigation costs, as pointed out here, by shutting Engel down immediately. Makes sense. But I'm honestly shocked after everything you've done to protect Engel, allowing him to operate illegally and rent-free for years, that he would sue you. I mean, I think you should be suing him, honestly. He hasn't paid for business permits, taxes, his licensing fees. You never cited him. Or is that just the kind of enforcement that you have for residents? Cities don't survive by raising taxes on struggling families. They have to hold corporations accountable. How many other businesses in Southgate are getting this kind of protection? If this is how you govern, no wonder the city is broke. Do you really expect us to believe that Engel hasn't paid for years and still hasn't been cited without any backroom favors? Maybe he's just your friend, maybe you're very generous, but it doesn't add up. So here's what we want. We want to terminate all the uses at 8530 Alameda. This agreement sounds appropriate, so I would hope that you would approve it so that we could get rid of the rest of the appeals and the zone change. The people of Southgate are done waiting. They're watching, and I hope that you choose to protect them. Thank you.
Next speaker.
Hi, Council. My name is Joanne, and I'm here again once as a cancer research advocate, sustainable designer, and a deeply concerned community member. I'm speaking about the cancer-causing health crisis happening here in Southgate, driven by toxic pollution from illegal truck yards like Engel. This isn't just a zoning issue, it's a public health emergency. And while Planning Commission has done the right thing, voting twice to shut the site down, the City Council continues to delay action. On April 22nd, the council was scheduled to vote on Engel's truck yard. Instead, Engel's attorney asked for a delay, and the council granted it. Engel himself didn't even show up, and that decision prioritized a polluter's request over the health and safety of residents. It was a mistake, and it sent a deeply troubling message that corporate convenience matters more than the community that shows up again and again. For years, the site has brought no benefit to Southgate, no jobs, no meaningful tax revenue. What it does bring is toxic emissions, truck traffic, and danger to families living just 100 feet away. Despite operating illegally for years, Engel has never been penalized. How is that acceptable? Now, Engel claims to be ending operations in May 2026, yet is still requesting a zone change to heavy manufacturing. How could that possibly align with the general plan, the future of the college district, or development of green zones? It's contradictory, and it raises serious questions about the intentions. Even more alarming, they've added a last-minute housing proposal as if somehow making the pollution go away. Honestly, the fact that the council allowed this housing development to be bundled into the zone changes is ridiculous. We know the truth, housing does not belong in a heavy industrial zone. That's exactly why this area changed to industrial flex in 2015. This housing proposal is a distraction and attempt to force a dangerous zone change through the back door. Council, you already have a disappointing reputation countywide for failing to protect your residents. You have the power and responsibility to change that. Please vote yes on this agreement. Thank you.
My name is Jonathan Contreras. I'm just going to be a straight shooter. I got nothing special to say. Just straight up, do what's right. This should have been gone a long time ago. And the fact we're here again is kind of ridiculous. And the fact they choose to be here today. I'm saying choose because they could have been here 3 weeks ago. Like, what the hell? And on that note, you might as well just give in to them if you want to. But you guys are giving them a little leeway that just says like, oh, corporations could do whatever they want and they could get away with it without any penalties and, you know, accountability. And that's messed up. And the fact that I was born and raised in that same street all the pollution already got into my lungs, my heart, my veins, and everything. And last 3 weeks ago, I showed you the CPAS machine to prove it. All I have to say is, if you really want to make a change, just get them out of there, man. And if they really do want to help out, like they say they claim to be, there's a college right next door to them. They could, all three of you could work together and do something for ELAC. Get a brighter tomorrow. So with that said, it's like it's ridiculous. It's really really ridiculous that we're going through this again. And to be honest, I'm just a working class Joe. And I know for a fact this is going to keep going and over and over and over again. This is never going to get settled. I've seen it time and time again growing up. Nothing really changes. I'm sorry. I'm being real with everybody here. These guys are going to get away with it. They're going to cave in. I'm sorry. I'm being real, but it's true. Let's be honest. And I can't really repeat myself because I'm kind of tired of repeating myself. And I know I got a minute left. I really don't have much to say. This is pathetic. This is sad. This is really hurting me. And I don't care about my health anymore because it's too late for me. I care about the future sons and daughters I might have. God forbid if the chemicals killed my sperm count. And let's see about that. And if that's the case, well, thanks, Ingalls. Thanks for making me sterile. I'm happy about that. At least that means I don't have to wear a rubber. So have a great day, all of you. And Ingalls, I hope you think twice next time when you mess up another city.
Next speaker.
Yes, my name is David Moreno. I am one of the 47 houses that are on Santa Fe Avenue. Pretty much I consider it the Wild West. We're in Walnut Park, so we don't really have any real representation. I inherited that house from my parents, and I understand about legacy, and I understand that Ingalls, from the meeting he did attend, talked about legacy and being an environmentalist. Well, okay, you have a year to prove that. In fact, I would like to be part of that, if possible, having meetings with Ingalls and the community, not just the Southgate side, but the Walnut Park side, because we're always like left out of everything. It was by coincidence that I got a letter in the mail for these last three meetings, except for this last week. I didn't get anything in the mail. So they got a year to prove it. So I do believe it's the best alternative, since this is going to go on for 2 to 3 years. And even then, the unknown is scary. So just Ingalls, please work with the city and work with the communities that are right around that area. I don't know if you ever met any of us, but we're pretty charming people. And we just care about where we live. We worked hard too. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, Council. My name is Omar Ruiz. I am a 20-year-old student and lifelong resident of Southgate. I am here once again to urge you to shut down Angle's illegal truck yard, a site that has been brought pollution, danger, and disruption to our community for years. We know the City Council has negotiated with Angle to terminate their use of the property in May 13th, 2026. That's a step in the right direction, but it raises a critical question. If Angle's truly committed to ending operations in 1 year, why are they still pushing for a zone change from industrial flex to heavy manufacturing? This doesn't add up. If a business is winding down, why are they trying to upzone their property to allow even more intensive industrial activity? Even more concerning is that the Angle has bundled this zone change request as a new housing development purpose. This combination makes absolutely no sense. Housing does not belong in a heavy manufacturing zone, which is exactly why this area was changed to industrial flex in 2015. That change was made to protect residents, not to make it easier for polluters to expand. Let's be honest about what's happening here. Angle has no plan to clean up the contamination that they've caused. They've tacked on housing development at the last minute to trick the city into approving a dangerous zone change, and we can see right through it. This business has operated illegally, harmed our neighbors, and is getting to you to rewrite the rules so they can keep profiting. Also remember, this planning commission has already voted twice to shut this yard down, once in May 2023 and once again in March of this year. They've done their job, but they've reviewed facts and listened to the people and make the right call. But Angle is still operating, and now they've given more. If you approve this request, you are not only ignoring the law and planning commission, you are sending a message to the residents that pollution and deception is acceptable if you have the right connections. We will not accept that. The residents of Southgate are watching. We will not be silent. And let me be very clear. Any city official who votes to protect polluters over the people will face a recall effort. You are elected to defend our health, our neighbors, and our future, not to protect companies that have already violated our trust. Vote no on Engel's request to shut down the illegal truck yard at 8530 Alameda. Stand with the Planning Commission. Stand with the people of Southgate. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Good evening, council members. My name is Andrew Herrera. I'm a Southgate resident, a road safety advocate, and someone who knows firsthand the danger of unregulated truck operations in our city. A few years ago, I was hit by a semi-truck. I survived, but the trauma stayed with me. My mom still lives in fear every time I leave the house. No one should have to live with that kind of anxiety. I'm here because what happened to me is exactly the kind of risk being allowed at 8530 Alameda Street. Angle has been operating a contaminated, illegal truck yard for years. No permits, no license, no environmental review, and he's still asking for a zone change to heavy manufacturing, even after claiming he'll shut down by May 2026. That's not just suspicious, it's dishonest. If Angle is serious about ending operations, why seek a zone change that expands industrial use? We've seen delays, loopholes, and backroom deals happen before. Residents want proof. This termination is real and enforceable because we can't afford to keep living next to cancer-causing pollution. You were supposed to vote on April 22nd. Instead, you granted Angle's attorney a delay. Angle didn't even come to the meeting, but the residents did. We took time off, arranged childcare, showed up because we care, and you turned your backs on us. You say there's no money for speed bumps or safer streets, but how many businesses like Angle's are dodging taxes, fees, and basic accountability? Has he ever been cited or paid what he owes? And now we're supposed to believe that combining a zone change with a last-minute housing proposal somehow protects public health? It doesn't. We want affordable housing, but not on property that's contaminated, not in a heavy manufacturing zone. That's why the zone was changed to industrial flex in 2015. So tonight, I'm asking you to terminate all use at 8530 Alameda. Vote no on the appeals and vote no on the zone change. And do it for the families who live just 100 feet from this site. Do it because your job is to protect people, not polluters. And if you won't act, we will. Southgate deserves leaders who serve the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Rosemary, and I grew up in the city of Southgate, where a majority of my friends and family still live in or reside by. I attended Southgate High School and even took some classes at the ELEC satellite campus, not too far from AEP. In fact, all 12 of my siblings, yes, I said 12, graduated from Southgate High School, and many of them also took college courses at that campus as well. I remember walking to my classes and wondering what these old abandoned buildings just before Alameda were and why we couldn't have nicer things in our communities. I had no clue years later that my job would be centered around helping others answer that question. I'm sharing a bit about who I am because despite similar comments made by many community members seeming redundant, I want to remind y'all that everyone has a story, an experience, and a reason for being here today, and people do want to be heard. I work for Communities for a Better Environment. A lot of our members are here today. I know there's different groups today. At least on our end, right, our members will make sure to mention they are a member. I'm also the lead organizer for our U-Haul campaign, which is how I learned about the neighboring site AEP. We work with youth and adults from all over Southeast LA who deal with the impacts of industrial pollution. And we have clubs all over many cities, right? Many of our members could not make it today, but we have a lot of letters to share and emails that have been sent out to voice their concerns. What I want to emphasize is that I'm here to speak out in support of terminating all use of the property at 8530 Alameda Street. I really want to uplift DTSC's current investigation of a site next to AP that suggests that Jack Engel may be a source of contamination, including metals and harmful chemicals known as VOCs. I think the folks behind me might share more about that, but I do want to thank the city of Southgate. I think compared to other spaces we've been doing work with has been a bit more proactive, and I think on the same page on where we're leaning to. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jennifer Ganata. I'm also of Communities for a Better Environment. I'm the legal department co-director, and I do want to actually continue the thoughts that Rosemary was sharing. So our understanding is that this site currently has a land use covenant. And as looking at the plans that have been provided, I think what we also want to uplift is in transitioning this land, we do think that there needs to be a remediation plan. I know that there has been mention of air quality monitoring, but I think the other parts that are really a big part of this are also what other types of contamination are there. And in order to do that, I think what would also be helpful for the city and the communities to think about how do we get a remediation plan and what does that community process look like? And I think just in terms of dealing with the LA County side, it has been a really big struggle to figure out how to get remediation done and whether or not community is involved. I think just in seeing this project and this parcel for the last couple of years, I do think that the city has done a lot more action than LA County in regards to the contamination on the multiple parcels. But so moving forward, if there is to be some legally allowable use, that legally allowable use also probably needs deep remediation. I think also the city needs to think about that because the state right now does not have more funds for remediation. They're actually canceling a lot of their programs. So I do think looking into that would be important. And also to note that the federal government is not funding remediation in the way that they have been. So I think for purposes of projects like this and industrial neighbors, remediation is a huge cost that a lot of people don't think about. And in order to ensure the safety of the neighborhood, I think that there should be a community vetted plan that, they have a year, but I think that the communication with, I think I heard someone else say, having transparency and having just input on how this happens really builds better relationships. So if there's any way the city can also think about that in terms of the cessation plan, I think that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jennifer, thank you for meeting me the other day. I don't know if it was me or you who hit the end meeting button, but if it was me, I apologize because I think you were still talking. So I apologize.
No, no problem. Thank
Okay.
you.
Next speaker, please.
Good evening, council members. My name is Janet Preciado Vargas, and I am a Southeast LA youth organizer for Communities for a Better Environment. I'm here to speak out in support of terminating all use of the property at 8530 Alameda Street. I support any proposal that terminates truck trailer storage, removal of all truck trailers, and implementation of air quality monitoring. These are things that will benefit our community, so I'm glad to hear that our concerns were heard. That being said, I am concerned about the site's transition into legally allowable use. Clarity and transparency is needed every step of the way. And we have seen that in the past, community members have been left with questions on how business is conducted. We need to make sure that communities are not at risk of significant health impacts. Environmental review of this property is something that must happen. DTSC's current investigation of a site next to Alameda Engel properties suggests that Jack Engel may be a source of contamination, including metals and harmful chemicals known as volatile organic compounds that damage lungs and the nervous system, putting people's health at risk. This is incredibly serious, and there should be a health impacts assessment and environmental review before any uses are approved for AEP. We've come together again and again to tell you that the health of our families are non-negotiables. Please prioritize your residents and hold corporate polluters accountable to the damage they've done to our communities. Community members need to be informed and have a seat at the table in these discussions because together we can create meaningful change for Southgate, and this is the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Sofia Rodriguez. I'm a member of Communities for a Better Environment and a resident of Southgate. First of all, I just want to say that the proof being presented to you guys should be enough for y'all to shut down this site. I mean, you have people in here today, and y'all had people in here last week telling you about how much the pollution has affected their life. They have respiratory problems, bad lungs, and just in general, pretty bad health. The reason you guys are in these chairs, I mean, I'm hoping you guys are up here because you want to help communities and you want to help the citizens of Southgate. You guys should have already been dealing with the situation from the beginning, but here we are in another meeting trying to convince you guys to shut down a clearly harmful site. I'm hoping that this is the last meeting I have to attend, but if not, I'll keep showing up until you guys make a change. So please do better.
Next speaker.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ozzy Orozco. I'm a member for Communities for a Better Environment. And today I'm here to talk about support for terminating all use of the property on 8530 Alameda Street. We support any proposal that terminates all truck trailer storage, the removal of truck trailers, and the implementation of air quality monitoring. I'm concerned about the site's transition to legally allowable use. I know that the property owners said that they're in favor of like remediation, they're in favor of air quality monitoring. I just want to ensure that we actually hold them accountable to what they're saying. I think I want to highlight the fact that we've all been talking about how we want this site to be beneficial to community members. And the first step in that process is really going to be taking into account what has happened on this site, cleaning up the site so that it is actually beneficial to surrounding community members. We need to ensure that there is no intrusion of volatile organic compounds into like neighboring properties, into neighboring homes. Honestly, it's a little disappointing that we only have these three options. I think that 1 year is a long time to wait for people to start using this site for something beneficial to the community. I think it's a little unfair that we have to wait that long for something to change. But like I said last time, we are no strangers to pollution in the area, and I can only hope that the property owners actually stick to what they said they're going to do and cease all truck storage that's no longer compatible with that land. I just hope that they respect us as much as we deserve as community members. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hey, what's up? Nathan Villarreal, CB too, you know me. So, hey, what's there to say about old Jackie boy here? First of all, I'd like to say, I really don't know why any of us are here. You know, I don't think I've ever seen a more pitiful display by a city council ever, really. And I've only been to one of these meetings, you know, so not a good bar to start off on. Somehow Jackie boy, he's managed to take an expired warrant or whatever it's called. I forgot the word for it. You know me. He took that, burnt it, took all the smoke and bad stuff, shoved it right down the windpipe of every person living in Southgate, along with all the other stuff they already put in the ground. You know, why they have the audacity to ask for another year to just do whatever they want, you know, I don't really know why. I don't know why we're entertaining the fact, you know, they tough talked you and threatened you with $300,000 in legal fees versus the health, the well-being, just like just being safe in like Southgate's community, risking everyone's health there. Why? That's what I'm wondering. You know, I really hope that, like Working Joe said, we don't follow this again. All right. I don't want to be pessimistic. I don't want to say that you're definitely gonna let them do whatever they want. I want to be hopeful. I want to see something change. I want to see Ouroboros. I want to see the snake get free. You know, I don't want to see this cycle repeat. I don't want to have to attend another one of these meetings about old Jackie. You know, like I don't want to be here anymore. All right. I hope this is the last time I ever hear about this. This should be shut down. It should have been shut down years ago. Thanks for your time.
Next speaker, please.
Hi, council members. My name is Araceli Rivas. I'm an active and alumni member for Communities for a Better Environment. I'm going to make my words as short as I can, but we all know that Southeast Los Angeles has had years of environmental abuse. Coming from someone who has lived here and left because of personal matters, I was excited to come back and hear about the changes that Southgate has going on currently because this will forever be home to me. But that has completely changed. I'm completely embarrassed of the continuous outcome that has happened and continues to happen if you don't vote no. I'm here to speak on the terminating all use of property at 8530 Alameda Street. Operations from Jack Ingalls represent a disregard of public safety, environmental safety, and legal accountability. DTSC suspects that families living on Santa Fe may be exposed to what we know as vapor intrusion, which is a well-known airborne carcinogen that literally seeps into homes, but it's not a suspicion if you have people coming here 3 weeks later. We need to clarify in the site's transition into legally allowing use. Please terminate all use of AP. Our community health and future can't be sacrificed anymore. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening. My name is Lisette Ruiz. I live on Kaufman. As you all know, I grew up in Southeast LA. I'm an environmental scientist. I have a science degree from Long Beach State. I grew up in the area, Huntington Park. Have lived in Southgate since 2006, and I'm proud of my experience. I'm also a board member for Communities for a Better Environment. I will be speaking based on my experience. I will try to hold back on my opinions. As a planning commissioner, I believe that we have to hear all sides of the story, all sides of what comes upon us. And I've held that opinion as a former Board of Environmental Safety DTSC board member. It's important to me as somebody who grew up in this area, who has members of my family and my community live in these industrial areas, work in these industrial areas. It's important for me that everybody has access to clean air, clean water, and a safe environment, whether we work here, play here, go to church here. And as based on that, that's where my decisions come from and everything I've been lucky enough to be appointed to. And to me, this agreement looks, I can see the work that the city staff have put, and I would like to commend them for that. I can speak on one of my, as I mentioned, my niece used to live behind the property. Her mom still lives there. And one of her concerns that she was hoping I could relate to you guys since she couldn't be here was the noise and trembling that they still experience. She says that they happen all hours of the night, that it's definitely a lot less than it used to. So that's kind of one of my questions, if there can be any oversight on that noise and reverberation, ¿cómo se dice? Trembling from the truck loading, unloading, that can be a part of this. I do believe there was some sort of agreement made with residents about that kind of work happening all night. And from her opinion, she says that she's glad that the operations will cease within a year. She would hope that it would happen sooner. And personally, from my experience as an environmental scientist and having spoken to the Engel folks, I did commend them for their work on the voluntary cleanup that they have been involved with through DTSC. And my encouragement still is the same, that they further that to residential levels. Since
Thank
there is
you.
residents.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker, please.
Hi, hello. Neighbors of Southgate and members of the city council, I stand here before you today not just as a concerned citizen.
Can we please have your name for the record?
Huh?
Your name for the
Oh,
record.
Roberto Beltran?
Thank you.
Sorry about that. I stand here before you not today as just a concerned citizen, but as a third generation of Southgate resident. My grandparents built their lives here, my parents raised their families here, and I'm planning on raising mine here. This is my home, and the property at 8530 Alameda Street has been a festering wound on our community for far too long, a toxic shadow threatening the legacy I want to leave for my children. How much longer must we endure this blatant disregard for our health and well-being? This isn't a discussion. This isn't a discussion. It's a demand for immediate action. The pollution emanating from the 8530 Alameda Street isn't some abstract environmental concern. It's impacting the lungs of our children, the health of our families, and the very future of Southgate. My family, like so many others, has breathed this contaminated air for far too long. The sheer negligence in allowing the situation to continue is infuriating and an insult to every resident who has suffered under its toxic cloud. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hi, my name is Thomas Buckley. I'm actually in favor of rejecting the agreement, but I know the way the council is. I see it all the time. We have an empty chair, the famous empty chair right here, which is the city treasurer. Yet we have we have an important budget update. We have 2 empty chairs right there. We barely have a quorum. So we're hanging by a thread as a city in the way these matters are handled, unfortunately. One of the things that was brought up was that AEP would move expeditiously to repurpose the site for a lawful use. That is very open-ended. What is a lawful use? Does that mean more pollution in a form of another entity? Does that mean more noise pollution in a form of another entity? It's incredibly open-ended. What happens in the event of a disagreement? For example, what if they say, well, this is something that is lawful, and the city says, yes, it's lawful, but something that we do not want in our city? Who makes the final call? Who has that final say? Do they sue us because they have reached something that is lawful and yet we disagree with their purpose? So I believe there needs to be some establishing of specific categories for repurposing. You just don't leave it open-ended like this. There's a lot of nefarious / lawful entities that can replace what we already have. I also want to quote somebody, really smart guy. I think we all know him. His name is Albert Einstein. The guy said, no problem can be solved by the same level of consciousness that created it. We have a bad recipe here. We have the people who created the problem trying to resolve the issue. I don't know how we can trust them, let alone our city council, but how do we trust them to come up with a repurposing that is going to be beneficial to the community and safeguarding our health for our families? I hope you guys will, again, please consider setting categories if you do approve the agreement. Again, I also condone rejecting the agreement, though. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Good evening, council. My name is Myra. I've been a resident of Southgate for over 40 years, pretty much all my life. And I'm here to pretty much talk about the same thing that everybody said, right? But what bothers me is when individuals come up here and claim backdoor deals. And if so, why have they not been reported? Making noise, talking just to talk, because you are following a rhetoric to mislead our communities, where if there is a backdoor deal, then stop speaking about it and file what you need to file, right? And, there's a couple of people in our community constantly pushing their own agenda of lies, who seem to forget that there's policies, and policies are implemented and they're meant to be followed. But they also come with the process, right? And I feel like that's what we're doing right now. We're trying to follow a process that is going to cost the least from our constituents, because at the end of the day, this money comes out of every penny that us pay, right? There is a social media page in the city of Southgate who has no involvement with the Southgate Police Department, but yet they think they do. And in this page, they have said misinformation for our community. And every time that people raise questions about these backdoor deals, specifically with this item, they will block you and remove you. And so I just want to urge community members to do your own research, educate yourself, ask for evidence of the wrongdoing, use your common sense. But most importantly, if our council members were doing anything illegal and backdoor deals with this item, Where's the reports? Where's the evidence? Don't just repeat the misleading rhetoric that you keep hearing. And council members, continue to do the work that you all have been doing. Continue to enforce policies implemented and move forward with them, creating a safer, healthier community for us all. And also at the cost of, the less legalities, litigation process that we may have. And thank you so much for everything that the whole city does. And thank you so much, council members.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hi, hello, council. My name is Alexander Goitia. I'm a youth member with Communities for Better Environment, and I have some letters from our youth members that I would like to leave.
Thank you. Any more speakers? Okay. If there are more speakers, if you can please stand on the side. Otherwise, after this gentleman, we will close the.
Ya. Hola,
Audience.
buenas noches, mis
Buenas noches.
señores del jurado.
Dele tiempo a la traductora para que le traduzca, por favor.
Claro que sí.
Su nombre una vez más, por
Sí.
favor.
Gabriel Guerrero, de aquí de la ciudad de Southgate.
Gabriel
Yo-
Guerrero from Southgate.
Llevo más de 50 años viviendo aquí en la ciudad de Southgate.
I've been living here for Southgate for over 50 years.
También soy miembro de Community for Better Environment ya por 20 años.
I am also a member of the same organization they've all been mentioning.
Esta es la tercera vez que me toca estar viniendo aquí por el mismo problema.
This is the third time that I'm here in front of you for the same issue.
No necesitamos esta compañía que nos está envenenando aquí.
We don't need this company that is poisoning us.
Necesitamos cerrarla, quitarla de aquí para evitar tantas
We need to shut it
enfermedades.
down when we need to remove it from our community,
Enfermedades del corazón,
from our hearts.
alta presión,
High blood pressure,
muchas partículas que está tirando ahí todo alrededor.
all the particles that are being sent
solamente
out in our
100
pollution.
Solamente 100 pies cruzando la calle, allí hay viviendas, ahí cruzan los niños,
Just 100 meters from the place, there's children that live there.
todos los estudiantes que están yendo a ILAC, allá
All
al
the students
colegio.
that are going to ELAC.
Y hay tantísima gente allí que están poniendo en riesgo nuestra salud de
And
todos
there's so many
nosotros.
people there and you're risking all of their health.
Esperemos que esta vez sea la última vez que estoy yo aquí.
We hope that this is our last time that we're
y
here
queremos resultados.
and we want results.
Gracias, buenas noches.
Thank you and good evening.
Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to close the audience. Do we have any emails?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we have a few.
Can you go ahead and read them?
We have an email from Isabel Gomez. She's speaking on items 2 through 5. Hello, Southgate Council. My public comment today is that Jack Engel illegal and contaminated truck yard should be immediately shut down. Also, there should be a plan made for quick and effective cleanup of the site. I also received public comments for items 2 through 5 from Mr. Mario Dominguez. He expressed strong opposition of the continued operation of the local business owned by the Engels, citing a lack of benefit to the community. He urges the city council to reject all appeals associated with the business and to accept all agreements that would result in the voluntary withdrawal of those appeals. Additionally, he recommends accelerating the termination deadline to no later than January 1st, 2026, and he suggests implementing fines if cleanup is not completed by then. I have another one for item number 5 from Ms. Cepeda, a resident of Southgate. She is on Santa Fe Avenue, and she urges the city council to uphold the planning commission's decision to deny Engel's permit to operate. She stated the business is located less than 100 meters from her home and has history of violations, including a $60,000 fine in 2011 for handling hazardous waste without proper authorization. As a mother of 4, she expressed deep concern for her children's health, citing ongoing pollution, noise, and vibrations caused by the business. She warned against allowing Engel to become another environmental hazard like Exide and Central Metal in the area. And that is it. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, City Clerk. Okay, so at this time, Mr. City Attorney.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. At this point, we'll hear just a brief closing remark by the the representative for Engel, who will be followed by the city's representative as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Honorable Council members. I really appreciate the opportunity to just very briefly acknowledge again our willingness to work with the community. I want to say that although the termination of the use on our site that would be done expeditiously pursuant to the item 2 before you, it doesn't solve all the industrial uses surrounding the property. I understand that there was some reference to trembling and vibration. Certainly, our property has been the subject of that because of the railroad that's in proximity of our property. And that's something that is a subject, I hope, of further consideration by this council and the city. What I do want to emphasize is that the proposed item before you today, as was supported by Sella for a Better Community and other members of the community, certainly puts us on the path to the right and future use of the site and the immediate termination of the current use in a way that's enforceable by the city. In regards to, as was mentioned previously, concerning environmental conditions and contamination on the site, I want to briefly just reiterate that the property has been the subject of 2 decades of cleanup pursuant to oversight by DTSC. That culminated in a series of covenants that restrict the uses on the site, and that ensures that the use on the site, any future use, would be highly regulated and controlled by those covenants, and that any future use would also be the subject of review by the regulatory agencies of the state, including DTSC. I want to then further emphasize, and something that I didn't mention previously and perhaps merits further attention, is that we have been maintained that the future use would be done in accordance with the proposed zoning that's already approved by this council. We're not proposing to modify that zoning, and we are committed to abiding by the zoning that has already been approved. And further to that point, I want to just submit for the record our letter formally withdrawing the items 2, 3, and 4, which are the appeals to the TUP, the appeals for the determination of the director regarding the grandfathered use, and formally the withdrawal of the zone change. With regards to that zone change, the purpose of that was not to propose any residential uses, but it was simply to allow an option on standardizing the use that currently exists. And we believe that the agreement resolves that issue, and a application for a zone change is no longer warranted. So I want to submit the letter as part of the record for consideration by this body. Finally, after the hearing, and regardless of the outcome, I'm happy to speak with CBE. I'm happy to speak with Sella for a Better Tomorrow and talk to them about what we hope to be the future uses on the property. We want to do that in partnership with staff, in partnership with the city manager, and in partnership and support of the community that's been present. And we want to honor their commitment to environmental justice and to the city. Thank you very much.
Mr. Fryhoe, just for the record, if I may, you mentioned 2, 3, and 4. Item 2 is the cessation agreement. Item
Excuse me.
3 is the appeal. Item 4 is the appeal, and item 5 is the zone change. You are withdrawing 3, 4, and 5, just to be clear.
That is correct. I apologize for that. I blame the city prosecutor for that. It's item 2, 3, and 4 that we're proposing to withdraw for consideration, subject to items 3, 4, and 5, subject to council's approval of item 2, which is the cessation agreement. Thank you.
All right, and have you now completed your presentation as part of the public hearing?
I have. And
Thank
I'm
you.
hoping it's the last presentation I make.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Eckert?
Thank you again, Honorable Mayor and Council. I just wanted to cover a couple of issues and kind of respond a bit to some of the comments made by the community. And I wanted to make sure that the community understands that the process that we're going through with respect to the TUP, that would be the temporary use permit, the legal nonconforming issue, and the zone change general plan amendment, all of that is part of due process. That is us going through these different levels of review, first at a director level, then with the appeal to the Planning Commission, and then ultimately with the appeal to the City Council, is not staff's or planning commissions or city councils methodology to delay some type of determination. Rather, this is something that is required as part of our municipal code in order to provide for due process, which is required both by the United States Constitution and the California Constitution. So I just wanted the community to understand that these are not methods of delaying things, but these are required in order to ensure that everybody gets fairness in our governmental processes. The fact that this agreement is being presented in the manner in which it's being presented today, that is before the City Council in a public hearing, allowing the public to come and voice their concerns, is a demonstration of the city's transparency to our community. This is not a backroom deal. This agreement is available for review. It is part of this record. We're talking about it. The community is allowed to come in and provide all of their concerns for the council to consider. It's definitely something that staff considered when we were negotiating these agreements, all the way from the city attorney and city manager down to staff level in going through all of this, as well as was heard earlier today by the property owner and his legal counsel. All of these concerns were things that were taken into consideration. So again, this is a demonstration that this is a method of transparency and not some type of backroom deal that's actually going on. There was concerns about the timing of it and the granting of kind of 1 year. And as I indicated before, this also is not something that is being done in order to reward the property owner with anything. Rather, again, this is also part of the due process. In providing some time, there is nothing that the city council would do today that would result in a complete termination and removal of all trucks by midnight tonight. That just wouldn't happen, right? And so in going through this, even if the city council were to reject this agreement and in turn deny the appeals that are put forward and deny the request for a zone change or a general plan amendment, what would happen is that we would then have to turn around and order the removal of all the vehicles, and time would have to be provided as part of that, at least up until the point that a court issues a stay on those orders. And again, as indicated, I do believe that it's very likely that a court would grant a stay on this type of an order until the litigation would be concluded. And again, going through both the initial stage of litigation as well as a potential appeal could take anywhere from 2 to 3 years. So this 1 year period of time, while I understand that everybody would like it to be tomorrow, I would as well. The reality is we believe the 1 year is a minimal amount of time that would be appropriate. Lastly, I do want to just add that by this agreement, we are achieving the termination of this illegal use across the entirety of this property, as I indicated earlier, both on the city side as well as the county side. And while we are able to do that, and while we're able to have an excessive amount of control with respect to any new use that would come back onto the Southgate side, we don't have that authority to be able to regulate what will occur on the county side. So I would just strongly encourage our community, both those that live in the city of Southgate and those that live in other areas, Walnut and some of the areas that I heard about today, I would just encourage them to continue to make the same sort of presence and concerns known to the County Board of Supervisors as well as to regional planning to address any future use on the county side of the property. Obviously, the staff and planning commission and or city council may have some control over ultimately, depending on what that proposed use will be on the city side. I would just encourage everybody who came out today and who has come out in the last several meetings at the planning commission stage as well as the city council to continue in their efforts and to voice those concerns with the County of LA so that we can try, after we have cleaned off this use from both sides, that the county side ensures that a similar sort of use or other use that would have detriment to our community and to our neighboring communities does not recur on their side of the fence, if you will. And with that, again, I would submit unless there's any questions that I can answer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Eckert. Have you now completed your presentation?
On behalf of staff, yes.
All right, thank you. Madam Mayor?
Any further?
No, I think at this point, the council should consider item number 2 as to whether it wants to approve the cessation agreement. And if it approves the cessation agreement, then based on the request of the applicant, the council would not need to take any action on items number 3, 4, and 5 because those would have been deemed automatically withdrawn.
Okay, thank you very much. So at this time, bring it back to council. Council?
Yeah, quick comments. First of all, Mr. City Manager, I know you weren't here in 2020, but the question becomes, how did this happen? We set policy, and the policy that was being made was to stop this kind of stuff from happening. And I realized that there was a mistake that was made in the temporary use permit. Okay, that's history. You had nothing to do with it. But what steps are we taking to stop that kind of thing from happening again? Because we can solve one problem and create another one a year from now.
Well, it is a tough thing. I think we certainly have limited resources on behalf of our code enforcement staff, which would typically be the ones trying to see violations of code, both on the residential side, the commercial side, and the industrial side. And where we can see them, where our staff witness them, they can investigate them. We also depend really on code enforcement to residents and business owners to report violations they see. And that can really help us. And we've had actually in the last couple months some addresses provided to us to look into. A lot of times these industrial areas are walled off, brick walls, gates. We're not sort of floating around in a helicopter able to see over those, but if our residents tip us off for some type of use, we'll investigate. We don't have a list of properties we ignore. We're willing to do that, but there's a lot of ground to cover. And then getting a chance to investigate and then follow a due process, which can take time. We try to be, business friendly, resident friendly, where we have discussions. If we see a violation right away, we try to say, hey, be aware. What could you do to clean this up? Do you need a little bit of time? That can stretch sometimes as we try to go back and forth with these things. I wasn't here, for the first 4 years of this process. That seems like it stretched too far. I think I do know there was changes in city managers, changes in staff, attempts to negotiate some sort of exit plan. It did drag on a long time. My goal would never to have something drag on that long, but to be aware if we see violations, we want to act on them. We want to be fair to all the businesses. They have the same deal. You have a zoning that you're allowed, and if you deviate from that, you shouldn't. And if you do, you have to talk to us. We have to work it out, hopefully in a non-litigation manner, in a congenial manner. If sometimes businesses accidentally stray into the wrong use, they maybe weren't aware. We try to take that in consideration. How long can you get back? But in this case, it took a long time, and I agree it, but we're not here to let this go. We're not here to let other properties in town get away with non-allowable uses. And we can use the residents' help if they identify areas that we should investigate, and we'll do that.
Right, but in terms of staff having the authority to give a temporary use permit, it's understood that there was an error that was made. So how do we stop that from happening again?
Oh, specifically there, maybe I
Yes.
over-explained. Well, tried to give you the broad picture, but specifically on temporary use permit, yes. I think our current staff have a clear understanding that that is for a very limited use, such as 2 or 3 days. That's how it's defined in our code. And so obviously this is a lesson learned that our current staff are aware of. I'll be monitoring. It wouldn't be something we do now, and it's important to make sure that we're consistent going forward.
Yeah, and the reason I bring it up is because one of the gentlemen that spoke, I believe his name was Nathan, he talked about how the threat of going to court. We actually had a case very similar to this, and we spoke about this earlier, Mr. Salinas. How much of that can you share publicly?
The city received back from the state a property that was then granted over to the city's housing authority. The property was being used as a place where used tires were being sold. And so the city was able to deal with the property owner, but there was a subtenant located on the property. And trying to get that subtenant out was a very long and difficult process. The subtenant then filed a lawsuit against the city, claiming that the city had condemned the property through inverse condemnation and prevented that subtenant, with whom the city had never dealt with, affecting their business adversely. And so what started out with the city's goal of trying to clean that property up, acquiring it, take control of it, just took on a very long period of time because the lawsuit was filed, and then the court sets the very first status conference in the case before you can get to the judge for the very first time 9 months away, because judges in the courthouses are overworked. Many of them have well over 300 cases. They settle one, they get two the next day. It's a huge demand. And so trying to ask the court for a date sooner than what they give you when the lawsuit is filed is virtually impossible unless there's emergency. So that process alone, outside the control of the city, was a very long process. It ended up getting resolved by the city and with the tenant finding another place. But we had to allow the tenant to find a place where they could move their tire business, and finding a place outside the city took a long period of time. So these things, it's not like TV where a lawsuit gets filed today and you're in court tomorrow. That just doesn't happen, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Councilmember.
Yeah, and the reason I bring those things up is because there have been a lot of comments made that there's backdoor deals, and I got to tell you, none of us were involved in the meetings with the attorneys as they were trying to negotiate this. The only direction they were given is to listen to the comments that were made, the concerns that were made, what our policies say, and try to stick to it, and try to remove them from what the uses are that they shouldn't have been. And why is that important? Because these are environmental issues that typically happen in low-income communities. You know, I've mentioned this before, I live at a mobile home park for seniors 55 and over, and you would think it's a nice little pleasant thing. On top of the trucking and the uh, contamination that's around us, yeah, we have that contaminated river that comes on one side and the 710 on the other. And if you think that's bad enough, we have military helicopters that find that going through the LA River will have a less impact on people. And it's not. Our mobile homes rattle as they go by. And these are constant. That's my only regret about being there. It's a nice little quiet neighborhood, except for those things. But these environmental issues are something that we take seriously. This issue, if it had been something, again, I'm a little disappointed that it's taken this long to come in. And, you know, I'm wondering, I get it. You're saying in 1 year you'll be gone. But when these issues first were brought to your attention, this could have been done a long time ago. This could have been ended a long time ago. And if I was sitting out there, I would be having the same thinking that they are, that we're allowing this to happen. And it's not. This is the kind of stuff we're trying to address. We don't want contamination. For those people that don't know, we have 3 sites here in Southgate. They're known as Superfund sites, that areas that are completely contaminated. We had the urban orchard that we started many years ago. I think it was 2014, with the purposes of addressing an area. And just when we all thought that it was going to be ready to go, I think it was a couple of months before the completion of the project, when it was found to have contamination, and everything had to be stopped. All the dirt had to be cleared out numerous times. That took over a year, right? Is that it? Well over a year to clean that up. We have apartment buildings that are trying to be constructed near Legacy High School. And there's contamination that slowed that process down. It impacts you, it impacts us. And so if there's any notion out there that we're trying to ignore this, no. I got family and friends who live here in Southgate. We all care about that. We hear you. I met with members of CBE recently, but I've known that organization for quite some time when I was the chair of the I-710 Project Committee. And I applaud their efforts. And I don't know much about the CELA group, but we need groups like that to address the issues. If groups like that existed back in the 50s and 60s, we wouldn't be dealing with this. So if there's any criticism as to who are these people, why do they care? The question is, why don't you care? These are important organizations that bring awareness to these things. I think the only mistake is that there's a perception that we're not on that same side. We live here too. We are impacted by the very same things. I know that there was mentioned by one speaker that there's groups out there that are trying to influence an outcome. They have a different agenda. So for those people who aren't aware, there is one particular social media page. All they do is attack us. We say right, they say they should have gone left. That we say up, they say you should have gone down. And they control the information on that page. I'm not on that page. They don't let my comments get on there. And if anybody gets on there, I think Liz Ruiz was on it and she got kicked out for talking about clarifying environmental issues. They started referring to as Dr. Doolittle for her actions. They started calling her the scientist and insulting her when they saw her. This is horrible. I'm sorry if I embarrassed you, but that did happen to you, right? And that happened to another young lady who was on there. She said something that they didn't agree to. They got her image and they put an image of a pig on her head. This is what happens. And those are the people that are out there trying to influence that we don't care. That is just pure nonsense. My whole goal here, hang on, my whole goal here is to get this thing resolved as quickly as possible with the least cost to us as possible. Our delaying this from 2 weeks ago, I wish we could have dealt with it. But when we heard that there's an opportunity to probably get out of this without any litigation or whatever, we wanted to hear what that was about. Not 100% thrilled with it, but I want to hear from my colleagues. But again, I just wanted to throw those things out because those are facts. Thank you.
Councilman Rios?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I want to thank everybody's here today, especially the community of a better environment and the CELA group, and all the young people that are here. I think it's important that you spend time with us here, and to let you know that, and the studies have proven that where there's community involvement, governance is better, where you have more people participating and better informed decisions are made. So thank you for being here tonight. I also want to thank the Ingalls, Jason and his father that are here. I know you've been part of the community for a long time. Caused a lot of harm in the community as far as air quality, and I know about that. We don't want to rehash it, but it did cause a lot of harm and health issues in the community. And you're here today, I think, to try to amend some of that. You heard the community talk about wanting to stay involved in terms of what's going to happen, because that's their home. That area is, and I know the attorney Frejo did mention that they're listening, they're attentive to the community. Hopefully, you could involve CBA, CBE involved so that they're kept aware of what's going to take place there in that site, because I think it's important. The future, it sounds like the site needs cleaning. Are you going to keep it that way to put another manufacturing or something like that? It sounds like that's what you're going to do. But it's important that the site is mediated so that there's no harm to the community. I think it's important that you work with the community. I hope that you think about whatever it is that you're going to business. That, I guess we're going to be part of that. Hopefully, the city, so that we could make sure that the community feels that they're part of it, because that's their community too. I mean, just like it is your business there. It's been, and you folks have benefit from being there for many years, but the recycling first, which was really bad. I mean, I know from my hearing from the residents. Now you have a truck, the containers, and hopefully it sounds like Communities for a Better Environment are in favor of this agreement. It seems the majority are, right? Am I seeing? It seems like at least to begin to terminate, within that time frame. If there's any way we could bring the time frame closer to within a year, it would be even better. I think if you could find a way to make that happen. I think this council wants to be know what's going on as you move forward with that plan. Keep us abreast. I think it's important that you stay within the time frame that you said. And if you could, bring it close it sooner, it would be better again, I think. Um, and again, is there any way you could, I think it's important that you involve the community. Find a way to stay involved with the community because, they're the ones that live in that area. They're the ones that want to know what's going on. So, Mr. Frejo, if there's any way you can work with Ms. Daly and some of the other activists that have been very involved, I think it's important that they have a voice as to what comes up. They know ahead, and we know ahead. So, I think it's important that maybe we could change the trajectory now. Uh, when you think about repurposing the location, that we look at what community, not just for financial gain for the company, but what gain is there for the community? Whether it's hiring people, local people, whether it's doing something, an apprenticeship program, whatever it is, working with the college that's nearby. Uh, you know, uh, there are opportunities to find ways to collaborate and partner, and I think here on the council we want to do that. We're willing to assist in that effort. Uh, but I think it's important that you also think about the community, really, really, not just for business sake, but also moving forward. I think keep that in mind. If you do that, I think we all benefit. Everybody benefits, and so I tend to. I think we only have two options. One is not to go with the agreement, which kind of delayed process and keep this, and I don't think it's going to benefit the community. The agreement, at least it brings closure. And I think that that's what the community wants. I think they want closure. They want to bring it down and repurpose it for a good, not just for the company again, but for the community too. So we keep those things in mind. I think it's a win-win for all of us. Those are my initial thoughts. And then if there's any way to clean it up a little bit more so that it could be something more that really, because when you have, I think if it's the state toxic control board, if that means that there is some issues with the ground. And if there's a way we could find a way to clean it up a little bit more so that we could have a repurpose, I think the city's willing to work with the Ingles to find a way that it makes it better for the community in the area there, because they've suffered enough. So if we can find a way to work together, I think all of us on the council are willing to make amends and see how we can show how communities with business can succeed, because we have a lot of industrial areas here. This is not, you're not the only ones. We have other container companies here. You're not the only ones. So we got a lot of work ahead of us. So maybe we could kind of set an example for moving. How do we you benefit and the community benefit together moving forward? So and I'm willing to be part of those discussions. uh, Hopefully you are too, not just today, but a continuance that I'm seeing. Yes, and that's great, because that's what we want. We want to move forward where everyone benefits. And so that's what my initial thoughts.
Thank you, council member. Okay, very quick. First of all, I want to thank everyone who are here and who participated in hearing your comments. And I think we heard you loud and clear. So, and also I want to thank the Ingalls family for being here. We appreciate it. And I want to thank our attorney for coming back with something like this. That it's going to help our community. I think that a year goes pretty fast, and the proposal that they are the agreement that they are proposing, I think it's a good proposal, because I would rather see a year than 5 years in litigation. And I think that because, as our city attorney mentioned, the tire place, it took almost about 5 years to clean that area. And it takes a long time in litigation. And I'm sure, some of the organizations, they know the process. They know how long it takes in courts, and it takes a lot. So at this time, and just to continue with this and moving forward, thank you all for coming, and I really do appreciate it. Again, we're here to listen to you. I mean, it takes a while because that's the process, and that's the process, and that's the time that it takes in order for items like this to to get approved or disapproved. So I'm going to bring it back to our council, and what's the wish of council?
Well, if I hear that is the company, Mr. Vega, are we good with some of the comments made from the dais here that the company is willing to work with the community, work with the council on the repurpose and trying to mitigate some of the cleanup there so that it's safer in the area for the residents, reduce some of the noise because you're going to still be there. If it's the Alameda corridor, I understand it. But I was hearing it was the containers in the middle of the night that make a lot of the noise there. So whatever you could do to mitigate some of that while you're still there, and just keep communities for a better environment in the loop on on the process, and keep us up to date on how you're moving forward with the succession plan to close that
You're gonna make a motion?
I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion that we agree with the one-year agreement and some of the comments we made right now.
Okay.
So I'm going to second that, but I'm going to ask you for, is there a possibility that as you wind down this 1 year, first of all, the question was, can you kind of sort of make it less than a year as it's coming down? It's not part of what we're saying, but if that's possible. But the other thing is, as you get closer to that year, can the amount of use that you have be lowered? In other words, as you're getting to the final months, there's less and less use. In other words, if you go in and say, okay, let's go ahead and fill this place up while we're at it, I would hate to see that. So again, I'm not saying that you have to, but I'm hoping you hear and look at that as a possibility. That is a move in the right direction. Our community is highly contaminated in a lot of spots in the city. And hoping that this at least clears that area up a little bit.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rios,
Yes.
Councilmember Hurtado,
Yes.
Councilmember Davila. I'm sorry, Mayor Davila.
Yes.
So, Madam Mayor, the record
ahead.
to reflect that, because item number 2 is approved, that means automatically items number 3, number 4, and number 5 are withdrawn by the appellant and need not be taken up by this council.
Yes,
And I'd encourage a break if we could.
yes, of course. And we'll take a 10-minute break.
All right. A lot less contentious.